Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Showing you lots of products here. Some of them I didn't end up using. I did end up using the Sealed with a Kiss stamp set, which is the last one that you saw there. They have lots of really cute little sentiments that are perfect for crafters, and some of them are used like on the back of your cards, like handmade by or created by. I'm going to use one of them as a sentiment on my card. So I played around a lot, a lot with this card idea, and ended up deciding that I was going to create a distress ink background. I used a bunch of pinks and purples just because I was using the Whimsical Hearts cover plate, and I thought that they would go really well together, but you could certainly do this in any colors that you want with any cover plate that you wanted. So I'm going to use Kitsch Flamingo, which is kind of like a lighter pink, to Picked Raspberry, Seedless Preserves, and Dusty Concord. Except, if you use distress inks or oxides, really, you know that kind of the ink stays on the ink blender. So I know like Laura Basson just kind of keeps general color families. I tried to keep them pretty clean. But apparently when I grabbed the one that I thought was Dusty Concord, it was actually Chipped Sapphire. So it comes out much more blue than I had intended it to be, but I got a fix for that, right? Because you know I'm not starting over. So I just went with it and got the color down. It wasn't super blending very well. Normally Dusty Concord blends very well into Seedless Preserves, but because it's a lot more blue, it's not really going great for me. So once I'm done with that, if you watch my videos, you know I always go back over them a second time. So when I go over them the second time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry that Seedless Preserves. I'm going to blend that edge there, go back over it. And then with the Picked Raspberry, because it has that brightness to it, I'm going to take the Picked Raspberry and I'm going to go over the portion that is the Chipped Sapphire that has that on there to add some more pink to it and make it more purple, less blue. And that did seem to work out for me. The end of it still did end up being a little bit more blue than I intended, but as we all know, blue is my boyfriend, and so I didn't really mind. Plus, I'm going to be using a full cover plate to cut this out, so anything that doesn't blend 100%, that I'm not, maybe I would try a little bit harder if it was a different card. I really don't have to worry about it because it's all going to get cut through anyway. You know what I'm saying? So when I had originally sat down to create this card, I knew that I was going to be using the new wax melts from Honeybee. So here I'm just going to go ahead and tape this in place. Yes, I know my cover plate is going to cut through my tape. I'm not worried about it. I just needed to hold it there long enough to get it through my die cutting machine. Know what I'm saying? I think that's the second time I've said that, so I hope you do in fact know what I am saying. But I knew I wanted to use the new wax melts. But before I started creating the card, Peanut and I sat down and kind of had a little play with the wax melts. Something to note here, I am using the background, but the Whimsical Hearts does cut out all of these cute little hearts. And so I'm not going to throw those away. I'm going to collect them in a little cup and I am going to put them off to the side. Then I can use them for various projects as I need little hearts, like for my sentiments or things like that. I wanted a envelope to go on the front of my card that I could seal, so I could play with those wax melts. So I just cut a square. I think this was 4x4, and then I scored it at 1.5 inches all the way around. So you want it to be in a diamond shape when you're scoring it, so that you're creating these little envelope flaps. And this can get a little bit tricky, so make sure you're using something that you can line up the line on the top and the bottom, because when you're flipping it around in that little diamond, it can get tricky to line up the lines. And then I'm just using my bone folder to create those lines. I'm going to go ahead and move my paper trimmer, and then I will fold these over and score them with my bone folder to make sure that they close all the way down. They lay down the way that I want them to. And I just did this out of white cardstock, my typical Nina, because I wanted to break up that pattern. I wanted my focal point to not be very busy because my background was so busy. And all of these flaps are just the same exact size, so I can fold them all together and it'll look like a cute little envelope on my card. I'm sure there's dies for this. I didn't have any, and so, plus I'm not putting anything in the envelope. It's just for show. It's a faux envelope. It's fake. So I'm just, gluing down each one of these little flaps so that it's secure and it looks like an envelope, and then I will be playing with the wax melts, which I have to tell you was so much fun. Peanut and I made a bunch. If you're watching the video on my channel, if you hang out until the end, you'll get to see us kind of playing around with them. It'll just be a few more examples. There's no voiceover. You're just going to listen to us talk. But that is there if you'd like to check it out. Here I have some silver twine. It's silver and white, and I'm just going to wrap it around my envelope a couple of times. I'm going to tape it in the back because that part's going to be adhered to the card so you won't see it. And then that's all the decoration that I'm going to do for the envelope outside of the wax melt. And you'll see it just kind of breaks up that busy pattern in the background. Wax melts. What are these? What are we talking about? So I just have a Glade candle. This candle came from Eric's apartment because I don't even buy candles. I have a wax warmer. But there's a little spoon that you put your waxes in. Where do you get the wax? Well, you get the wax at Honeybee as well. And there's a whole bunch of different color combinations. There's all that glitters, which is gold and silver. There's a pearl, which is white. Hugs and Kisses has red and pink and a light blue. And then Tuxedo has white and black. You can mix these any way you would like. The more colors that you put in there, when you pour it, the more variation that you're going to have, which I did play around with them, and I ended up going with just solid black. I wanted to see if I could do like black with a shimmer. So I did a couple of black and then a silver and a white. And I wanted to see if I mixed it up together, what that would look like, or if I left them alone. So this one, I'm just kind of moving them around to get them to melt faster. This is obviously sped up. But I didn't mix them. I just moved the wax around to get it to melt, and then I'm just going to pour it as is, and you're going to see there's a ton of variation. Honeybee is selling two different designs right now. There's a simple heart and then a rose. I like them both, but I think the rose is my favorite. And then you just pour this down. I'm using my Waffle Flower watercolor media mat. It's silicone. You can use heat on it, and these just pop right off. They don't stick to it. So I poured that right down on the surface, wiped it up with a dry cloth while the wax was still warm, and cleanup was no issue. I'm just going to pop this off with my fingernail, and there you can see all of the different colors. Now, when I tried this on my card, I felt like it was a little bit too busy with what I had going on in the background. Although it is very pretty, I decided that I was going to try to make purple, right? That's what I'm going to try to do. And so I ended up using pink, blue, and red, 2 blues, 1 pink, 1 red. And I'm going to melt that down and mix. This time I'm going to mix them, which I think is a lot of fun and a great way to get different colors because there's so many things that you can choose. And maybe even adding a little bit of the white pearl would have made it a little bit lighter. But this one, I'm just going to like stir it in the spoon till I get this really pretty like mauve color. It was not purple, but this one was probably my favorite one that I made. And for this one, I am going to do the rose. And this one's probably the favorite one that I made because I really like the color, and it came out as a perfect circle. I don't even know how I managed that, but it did, and it was awesome. The other two that you see up there on the right-hand side are the pearl color, which I made previously. I also tried doing more pink and one blue. That's the lighter colored pink one that you see. But ultimately for the card, I went with just black, because I couldn't get like a pink that matched. I couldn't get a purple that matched. And so I knew I was going to do my sentiment in black, and I was like, I'm just going to go with black because it's nice, simple, classic. So what you see me doing here is using my honeybee, like my pokey tool, to just kind of move them around to help them melt a little faster because I am impatient. And then I'm going to dump that right on my envelope, and I'm going to put the heart seal over top of it. Now, Kelly from our team had a really, really good suggestion during her live, which is she takes a Sharpie or something close to and marks the middle of it. So like for her, she marked the middle bottom of the heart. So that way she knew when she was putting it down that that's the way that it was facing. So that's an excellent idea. So now I have this done. I will warn you, don't put this on your envelope or over the twine or any of those things until you're sure, because you cannot get it off. So now that I have that done, I'm going to take a couple of these hearts from the cover plate, and I'm going to create kind of an accent on the right-hand side of my envelope, almost exactly the way that I would decorate an envelope if I was mailing a card to somebody, if I mailed cards. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't, though. So part of this set has this little one that says happiness enclosed, and I thought that that's super cute for an envelope, but also would be super cute on a card, you know, because you open up a card. So I'm going to do some heat embossing on black for that. I'm going to use the Honeybee embossing ink. This is a clear sticky ink that's just going to hold my embossing powder. I treated it with my anti-static tool. I'm going to stamp that down. And then I'm just going to heat emboss it in white and use my die cuts to cut it out. So as you guys well know, we've had family that's been helping us out. So the only reason I was able to do this card is because my mother-in-law was here helping with Caitlin, so Nathan and I could kind of have some mommy son time, and we were playing around with them, you know, to see the different things that we could do. And he ended up really liking them. He wanted to keep a couple of them. I don't know what he's going to do with them, and it gave me the opportunity to kind of explain to him, you know, what the wax seals were for and how that worked. You know, back in the old days when people actually sealed letters for a reason and not just because it was super cute and artistic. So here I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my background down to my card base. I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest with you, I did not love the way that the wax poured around my twine. Like, I wanted it to be more round, and it was not, and it was bothering me that the sides didn't have any pieces parts. So I have this other black heart one that I did, and so I was like, well, I'm just going to adhere this on top of the other one because it'll round it out. They blend in together. You can't even really tell that they don't go. So now this is my new game plan. I'm going to pop my envelope up on foam, just because it won't adhere flat anyway because of that twine. So there's no reason to try and make it do so. I'll just put foam on either side of it and adhere it that way. That once I was happy with it being straight, I went ahead and stuck it down. And then I'm going to start building up the side decoration like we talked about. And even for me, it ended up maybe a little bit over the top, but I think it's okay. I think there was enough little things that it was okay. So first things first, I'm going to glue down my sentiment in the bottom-ish left-hand side. I didn't want it hanging off the bottom. It looked weird, so I scooted it up a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of place my hearts around it so that, oh no, well, this is the first way we tried to adhere this, was with a sticky, a dry sticky adhesive, so like a tape runner. I tried that to adhere my wax to my wax. That did not work. PPS. So I've moved on to the hearts. I'm going to just put some glue down and adhere them flat to the envelope, and I just picked, you know, a couple of different ones so I would have different sizes, just like I would do rhinestones or sequins, and I just did them both. These tweezers, by the way, I've been using quite a bit. Those are also by Honeybee, and they're fantastic. The little pointy tweezers. I'm normally like a fingers girl. I just pick them up and do them with my fingers. But sometimes when you have little pieces parts, it's nice to have a little tool to help you along. So I've got a couple of different hearts on here, and then it felt very separated because of the twine. And now here's where I realize this isn't working. So now I'm going to try liquid glue. I'm going to try my liquid Honeybee glue, and I'm going to try to glue that down wax to wax. This also did not work, but I'm not discouraged, folks. No, I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. So these little gems that you see over here are they're also by Honeybee, and they're called Back to Basics, and it may be my favorite set because it has metallics, it has white, it has black, it has clear, and those are like neutrals is what I use. So I picked a couple of different sizes of blacks, and then I put those on there, and then I'm going to fill in that space with just a journaling pen. So I'm going to do a series of dots like around the hearts. I'm going to kind of create almost like a swoosh up the envelope, so that all of those little parts tie in together and kind of guide the eye. The last thing that I'm going to do to my little swoosh is add in little dots of Stardust Stickles for some glitter. You know how I love that. I also added Stardust Stickles to some of the hearts in the background, just randomly, for a little bit of extra added sparkle. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my glossy accents. So some of them are filled in with glossy accents, some of them are filled in with glitter. And it was just kind of a way to add a little oomph to the background, if that makes sense. So I did that, and then anywhere that I couldn't get it all the way to the edge, I just used my pokey tool to kind of drag it over, but you have to do that right away. Now here I thought I was done with my card, but I told you that didn't stick. So now I'm like, how do you get wax to stick to wax? Well, you melt it. That's how you get wax to stick to wax. So I tried using my lighter to just heat up the bottom of the seal I wanted to adhere, and I could not get it melted enough for that to work. So now I'm just melting one little hexagon of wax, and I'm going to stick the other one on top of it. I am 99.9999% sure that this would have worked if I would have left it alone. But remember when I told you I was impatient? So that did not work. What I ended up doing was melting down the previous heart seal. I'm going to pour it on there again, and then I'm going to use the heart stamper. This did work to kind of fill in those edges that I didn't like, because I could pour it directly where I wanted it to be filled in. But because I was pouring it on top of already hardened wax, you couldn't see the heart super great. It was there, but it wasn't overly apparent. And you can see it here. Like, it wasn't as what I wanted it to do. So I was looking for a way to highlight it. And what I came up with was my Perfect Pearls. And I just put a little bit on my finger, like I just touched the inside of the lid. And then I rubbed it over just the raised part of the heart, and that was enough to highlight it, that you could see it, and it broke up the black. So I really was happy with the way that that looked. And then that really is the last thing that I did to this card. So this is the whole card. I thought it was super fun with the little wax melts. You'll notice that there's still like another 10 minutes left of this video. That's just me and Peanut kind of playing around. You're welcome to check that out if you're watching on my channel. If you're watching on the Honeybee channel, then that is not there. I kept it strictly professional. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you learned a little something, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye. You want to do this one? All right. Put about 3 or 4 in there, whichever ones you want. You can just put them in. Just put them in the spoon. Okay. Let me put the lid on this so you don't knock it over. And then don't hold it so close up here. Hold it back here. Okay. And then just hold it over here.
It's getting close.
I want to put it in the flame. You want to hold it above the flame.
Oh, it's starting a little bit.
So you want to do the heart or the rose?
The heart.
The heart?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is recording.
Uh-huh.
It's on my video.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
What do you think it's going to look like?
Mm.
You think you'll be able to see more white or more black?
More white.
More white? I think you'll be able to see more black.
Why? Because they're not as melted?
Well, they're all going to be melted before we pour it.
Would you pour it into there?
And then we're going to pour it right here, and then we're going to put the stamper on it.
Mm-hmm. Don't you speed your videos up so this will be faster?
Yeah.
Oh, you can smell it.
Mm-hmm. Just don't touch this after you pour it, okay? Alright, I think we can probably pour it. Here, Mommy will move the candle. Go ahead and pour it down.
That's cool.
Okay, now you stamp it. Stamp it. Leave it sit there. Yeah, see, we got it too close.
Oops.
That's alright.
Wait, is it a magnet?
No, they used to seal letters this way.
They did?
Uh-huh. So, grab a envelope.
White or colored?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you know what? Grab a white one so we don't waste a colored one. Just hang on to it for a minute, okay?
Wait, so does this have a microphone on it? Or?
Yeah, it records sound, but Mommy mutes it and then she does her voiceovers.
Why do you not want to talk during?
Huh?
Why do you not want to talk during it so that you don't have to do voiceovers?
Well, because it's hard to keep track of. Alright, Mommy's gonna do.
Like you said.
Yeah, it's hard to, especially with as much as I get interrupted. You know what? Let's throw a blue one in there. Just for kicks. Okay.
Can I do another one? Wait, when do we take that off?
You can take it off.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see more black. Can I lift it up?
Mm-hmm. Well, here, you don't want to... Mommy has a spatula around here somewhere. Go.
Do I put it over?
Hmm? You want to hold it up to the camera? You might want to tilt it so they can see. There, see?
That's cool.
Looks different on the bottom, huh?
Can I have one?
You can have that one if you want.
Wait, how do you get rid of this part where it doesn't stay like that?
So, back in the old days, they would take envelopes And you
Feels
would,
like paper.
this is before they had like the sticky parts. So you would just fold your letter in half, and then you will, Mommy's going to put this here. We're going to do the rose for this one. So you want to stick
Wait, how do you get rid of the circular part?
Here, so that's what I'm talking about. Hold on. All right, you ready to pour this?
On here?
Yeah, you're going to pour it right here. Okay, be careful.
Ooh, that's really hot.
Okay, let Mama grab it there. All right, there you go. Down here. And then pour it right on top of it. Okay.
Oh, that looks cool.
Now, take your stamper and stamp it down there. Not hard, remember we don't want to splash it. There you go. Now leave it sit.
Okay, I'm gonna finish.
Alright, hold on. No, it's so... So anyway, this will seal these two pieces of paper together, and then back in the old times, that's how you knew if somebody opened your letter before it got delivered to you, because the seal was broken. So what do you think? More red, more blue?
Red.
More red?
How do you think?
Okay, you can take it off.
I was right.
See? And then it holds it together. So then that way if you tear it open...
But you're gonna rip it?
See, when you try to get it open, you can't. Unless you break the seal. Silver. These should have metallic in them. Gold. You can mix one of these other colors in there if you want. Silver, gold, and black. Oh. It's okay. And white. You want to hold it over there?
We fixed the bottom.
Yeah.
Wait, they can't see the game.
Don't burn yourself. Careful, this part gets hot up here, so back your hand up. Okay.
This looks cool.
You're gonna do the heart or the rose? The rose?
Wait, is this all you're doing for the card?
No, I'm gonna make a card with them.
How?
I got an idea. I have these, what do I do with it? Here. See? So they have some that look like them, but they're stamps. And then you can write in there like handmade by or created by. So Mommy is going to make a card and then also do an envelope.
Wait, we just did an envelope.
I know, but I'm gonna do one that matches the card.
Okay.
Quit picking your nose. See, I made this one last night. It look like a keyhole.
Yeah. Do I dump it now?
Oh, well, 1 second. Let me look. Okay, let's. You want to do the row? That's the heart. Okay, go ahead.
So you can have one of each.
Okay.
That looks cool. I like how it looks just sitting there.
Make sure you try to get it in the center, okay? That one looks like it's gonna look pretty cool.
No, this kind of looks like half of a heart, but then this part's bigger.
Mm-hmm.